this so this points topic I'm going to discuss today. First, let us go for seeing how I'm going to discuss about a point. See, just like point, it is indicating just a point, whatever you are going to represent on your drawing sheets, or you are going to represent on your books or something else. Suppose if I'm considering my notebook is here. So what I'm doing, I'm going to represent a point. So how I'm going to represent a point? I'm going to represent by dot. Now, when I'm talking a dot or a point, how I'm going to see that how much dimensions it is going to see. So this point doesn't have any length, width, or height. So that's why we always say that a point which is having no dimensions at all is called a point. Okay. In the similar fashion, when I started considering about a point, why I need to study the points. Everybody should remember this. Why I should study the points, because if I'm considering it, if I'm seeing this, all the lines whatever I'm going to draw is a combination of points. It's always going to be a combination of points. Just you can see this particular things. Now let us consider how we are going to represent. Suppose if I'm saying a point, this is a point. What I'm representing, it doesn't have any dimensions at all. Now if I'm observing it, these points, so this is a topic I'm going to discuss here. Points. 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 Now, when I'm talking about lines, this is another thing. When I'm keeping all the points side by side like this, whatever I'm showing you in the PPT presentations, all the points, if I'm keeping all the points side by side, so I'm going to get a line. Nothing but a line which is going to have only one dimension, because it consisting of only length. So a line, we are going to define it is as a one-dimensional object, which is going to say that if only length will be there. It is a combination of different number of points. See, when I'm talking about a plane, how I'm going to define a plane? So if all the lines, if these all the lines, if I'm just drawing it side by side, so like this, like this, so all the things, if I'm observing it, I'm going to get a plane. Now, this plane is nothing but a combination of different number of lines is called a plane. Now, different number of lines combination is called a plane, where I'm saying that this consisting of two dimensions, length and width. Two dimensions are there, right? Now, I'm going to say that solid. What I'm going to say that solid. Now, solid, when I'm considering about the solid, I'm going to say it is a combination of different planes. Combination is called solid. Now I'll see this different number of planes. If I'm keeping one by one, I'm going to get a solid. Nowadays, whatever the objects we are going to see, if starting from a pen, book, anything, we call that as a solid. Suppose let me consider this is a book. Now, if I'm saying this, if I'm observing it this one page, if I'm observing this one page, if I'm saying this page is going to consisting of length and width only. That's why this thickness is not going to be there now. I'll say that it's going to be very minute and it can be negligible. This is going to consisting of length and width only. That's why we call this paper is going to be a plane. Now, how I'm going to get a three-dimensional? Now, if you are observing my book here, this consisting of length and it consisting of width, and it also consisting of thickness here. Nothing but this book now is going to be a combination of three dimensions: length, width, and height. Three dimensions are there. Now, how I got three dimensions? All the papers with a negligible text, I'm keeping one by one, and now this book has been prepared. Now nothing but this a solid is going to be a combination of different number of planes is called solid. That's why, so in our drawing we are going to see this, all these things we are going to discuss. First, I'm going to discuss in the second unit, we'll discuss about the points here. Next, we'll discuss about the lines. And after that, I'm going to discuss about the planes. And after that combination of the planes, we call it as a solid. So we are going to discuss about a solids. All the things we are going to discuss in the sequential manner here, right? Now let us go for start discussing about the points. It's a very easier topic, very easy. So what you can observe it. So if you have any specific doubts, you please raise it there itself. We are going to discuss it. See, see now when I'm observing it, this particular figure. Now I have, if you are observing it, this consisting of four quadrants. So you might have already in your intermediate itself, you might have already studied about the four quadrants. So the top, this first one, so where my mouse is there, you please go through that. So this where we are going to call this as a first quadrant. Now backside of that we are going to say that second quadrant, and below of that we call this as a third quadrant, and this is a fourth quadrant. Let me see how exactly I'm going to find here. So I'm taking my book here. Now my book, I'm keeping it like this. See here, I'm keeping it like this. Now this is a horizontal plane. This is horizontal. Now this is horizontal plane and this is vertical plane. Because plane is indicating only two dimensions. This also going to have the two dimensions. Just how we have discussed about a dimension point. Now I'll say that this is a horizontal plane. This is a vertical plane. This is vertical, so I call vertical plane. This plane is horizontal. I calling it as a horizontal plane. How it looks? It is going to see this. This is going to have only one dimensions here. This is going to say that first quadrant here. This is the first quadrant. Now when I'm talking about the second quadrant, like this, see here that picture also, you please, you can observe it carefully. This is called second quadrant. This is called second quadrant. Now this is called second quadrant. Now how exactly I'm going to see this? Now see the third quadrant, it is indicating reverse of that. See here, this is a third quadrant for me. Now this is a third quadrant. See here, this is a third quadrant, what I call. And now when I'm talking about a fourth quadrant, this is a downer one, is called fourth quadrant. So I'm going to find four quadrants here. Please observe it carefully. So first I'm moving my mouse, how my mouse is moving. So this green color and the blue color. So this part is called the first quadrant, quadrant number one. Now backside of that, I'm going to have the second quadrant. Below of that, we have the third quadrant, and the bottom one is called fourth quadrant. So this way we are going to have the four quadrants here. So please remember, you this one you might have already studied uh, in our trigonometry point, where we were discussing about all silver teacups, all, where all the things is going to be a positive in the first quadrant, signs will be positive in the second quadrant. See now, tangent, tan will be teacups, t stands for tangent, tans, so that is going to be constant or positive in the third quadrant, and cosine will be positive in the fourth quadrant. That's what we have discussed in the trigonometry when we discussed even the starting point here. Intermediate itself, you might have already known about that. So this is indicating anything, it is going to consisting of four quadrants now. So first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. Now this, please remember it. Now coming back to here, when I'm talking about this particular point, you please see, when I'm saying that the four plane, horizontal plane and vertical plane. Now the combination, the junction of these two things are there now. So suppose, see, if I'm finding this is a horizontal plane and vertical plane. This is a horizontal plane, this is a vertical plane, where I'm going to find the junction of these two things now. The junction of these two things are there. This is called XY line. This is called XY line, right? Remember this. So this is called XY line. So I represented this in the XY line in the PPT also. So please see. So this is the first quadrant. This is the second quadrant. This is the third quadrant. And this is going to be the fourth quadrant. Four quadrants are there. So when I'm saying that, so arrow mark directions. So please see, the observer are going to be the arrow mark. Observer is indicating you. You please, you whenever you need to draw any point positions, you please think it where you are standing. If the people are saying, if the problem is saying it is in the first quadrant, so please mention it is the first quadrant. So now how I'm going to define the first quadrant at all? So if first quadrant, how I'm going to define? Please see. Now I told you this is the first quadrant, this way. Now when I'm talking about this, now very simple. ఇప్పుడు నాకు పాయింట్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది అనుకున్నాను అనుకోండి, దీన్ని నేను ఫస్ట్ క్వాడ్రంట్, ఈ పాయింట్ నేను ఎలా డిఫైన్ చేస్తాను? మనం గ్రాఫ్ గీసేటప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తాం? ఎక్స్ నుంచి ఎంత హైట్లో ఉంది, వై నుంచి ఎంత హైట్లో ఉందో పాయింట్స్ తెలిస్తే మనం పాయింట్ని మార్క్ చేస్తాం మనం మామూలుగా. సిమిలర్ థింగ్స్ నౌ ఇఫ్ ఐఎమ్ లొకేటింగ్ ఎ పాయింట్ హియర్, ఈ పాయింట్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది అనుకుందాం. ఈ పాయింట్ని ఎలా చెప్పాలి? ఇట్ ఈస్ 20 mm above horizontal plane. So hereafter every time calling it as a horizontal plane, vertical plane, మనం ప్రతిసారి హారిజాంటల్ ప్లేన్, వర్టికల్ ప్లేన్ ఇంత పొడుగు పిలచలేం. కాబట్టి మనం ఏం చెప్తాం? హారిజాంటల్ ప్లేన్ ని హెచ్పి అందాం, హారిజాంటల్ ప్లేన్. వర్టికల్ ప్లేన్, I don't want to call this much bigger name. We call this as a vertical, VP, vertical plane, horizontal plane, right? So please remember these two words. In the examinations also they are going to give it HPVP only. Horizontal plane, vertical plane. Horizontal plane ante this one is a horizontal. This is vertical, is called vertical plane. నేను ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఒక పాయింట్ పెట్టాను అనుకోండి, ఈ పాయింట్ నేను ఎలా డిఫైన్ చేస్తాను? ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఈ హైట్లో 20 mm, ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఒక 30 mm డిస్టెన్స్లో ఉందనుకుందాం. నేనేం చెప్తాను? దిస్ పాయింట్ ఏ పాయింట్, లెట్ us consider ఏ పాయింట్. ఏ పాయింట్ ఏ ఈజ్ 20 mm above horizontal plane, above horizontal plane, and 30 mm in front of vertical plane. ఎందుకంటే దీని ముందు ఉంది కదా. మనం చెప్పేటప్పుడు ప్లీజ్ ఒక్కసారి టర్మ్స్ ప్లీజ్ రిమెంబర్ ద టర్మ్స్, ప్లీజ్ రిమెంబర్ ద టర్మ్స్. ఫస్ట్ క్వాడ్రంట్ లో మనం ఎలా డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం? ఇట్ ఈస్ అబౌవ్ హెచ్పి ఇన్ ఫ్రంట్ ఆఫ్ విపి. ఇక్కడ పాయింట్ 20 mm above HP, 30 mm in front of VP. That is the way how we are going to define the first quadrant, please. Right? Now I'm saying that the second quadrant, I'm going for the second quadrant. How I'm going to define the second quadrant, please? So how I'm going to define the second quadrant? See here. So how I'm going to define the second quadrant? See, first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. See here. ఇప్పుడు మనం ఒక వన్ బై వన్ లెట్ us go for discussing it, please. ఇప్పుడు నేను క్వాడ్రంట్స్ని ఎలా డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నానో చూడండి. ఇప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ క్వాడ్రంట్ చెప్పాను, ఇది ప్లీజ్ అందరూ ఒకసారి ప్లీజ్ మేక్ ఎ నోట్ ప్లీజ్. ఫస్ట్ క్వాడ్రంట్ని మనం ఎలా డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం? క్వాడ్రంట్ 1 అంటే అబౌవ్ హెచ్పి ఇన్ ఫ్రంట్ ఆఫ్ విపి. ప్లీజ్ మేక్ ఎ నోట్, అందరు నోట్ చేసుకోండి. అబౌవ్ హెచ్పి ఇన్ ఫ్రంట్ ఆఫ్ విపి. ఇప్పుడు హెడింగ్ ఫస్ట్ క్వాడ్రంట్ అని పెట్టుకోండి. దాని కింద హౌ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు డిఫైన్ అబౌవ్ హెచ్పి ఇన్ ఫ్రంట్ ఆఫ్ విపి. Right? This is the way how we are going to define. Now the same thing I'm going for the second quadrant here, please. Second quadrant ila undi. Now how I'm going to define the second quadrant? I'm going to define it like this: above HP, behind VP. నేను ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు ఈ సైడ్ ఉన్నాను చూడండి. ఇప్పుడు నేనేమో నాకు నీ షీట్ ఇలా ఉందండి, మీకు ఇలా కనబడుతోంది. నేను వెనక సైడ్ ఉన్నాను. ఇప్పుడు నాకు కనపడుతుందా? ఈ పాయింట్ కనపడదు కాబట్టి నేను బిహైండ్ VP అన్నాను. నా వెనకాల ఉంది కదా, behind VP. That's why we always say that second quadrant is always represented as above HP, behind VP. Please make a note. Second quadrant is indicated as above HP, behind VP. Right? Now let us go for finding the third quadrant, please. Like this third quadrant I'm finding. Reverse. Now see now how it is. It is now how it is. This is point is here. Point is here. I'm saying up from the top. Now it is below. This is below. Now this point is below. Right? This is below. So below kabatti emantunanu దీన్ని నేను it is below HP. దీనికన్నా కింద ఉంది. ఇది హెచ్పి, ఇది విపి కదా. ఇది వర్టికల్గా ఉండేవన్నీ విపి, హారిజాంటల్గా ఉండేదండి హెచ్పి. below HP and behind VP, like this, right? This way, when I'm talking about this, this is, I'll say, this is called below, this is below HP and in front of VP now. Now let me see, ఒకసారి points చూడండి, ఒకసారి how we are going to represent the points. Please see all of you. See, first I'm saying that I'm drawing it one. I'm drawing XY line. I'm drawing an XY line. Now I'm seeing this vertical point. I'm drawing it. See a vertical point I'm drawing. So this is called first quadrant. This is called second quadrant. This is called third quadrant. This is called fourth quadrant. Now when I want to represent here a point, let us consider a point. How I am representing? A అనేది ఎలా ఉంది? ఇది above ఉంది, in front. ఈ సైడ్ ఉంటే దాన్ని in front అంటున్నాను. In front, this is above. So two things, please. So first quadrant, you please write this is above HP, in front of VP. In front of VP. This way you need to mention the point. Now when I'm talking about this point here, second quadrant, I'm representing a point B here. How I should represent? So this is above HP. పైన ఉంది కాబట్టి ఈ లైన్ కన్నా పైన ఉంది కాబట్టి అబౌవ్ హెచ్పి అంటున్నాను. ఈ లైన్ కన్నా వెనక సైడ్ ఉంది కదా, అందుకని దీన్ని నేను బిహైండ్ విపి అంటున్నాను. దిస్ ఇస్ బిహైండ్, దిస్ ఇస్ అబౌవ్. హౌ ఐ ఎమ్ రిప్రజెంటింగ్? పాయింట్ బి ఈజ్ above HP, behind VP. Behind VP. This way we are going to represent, please. So ఇది మాత్రం చాలా ఈ ఒక్కటి మాత్రం గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే మీ సెకండ్ యూనిట్ కాదు, సెకండ్ థర్డ్ యూనిట్స్ మొత్తం అన్ని ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ సాల్వ్ చేయొచ్చు. ఈ ఒక్క మ్యాటర్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి, రైట్? సెకండ్ క్వాడ్రంట్ XY లైన్ పైన ఉంది కాబట్టి అబోవ్ అంటున్నాను, Y line ki back side undi kabatti behind antunnanu. Now I am going for the third quadrant here. Third quadrant, how I am representing? Point C. Let us consider point C. Now it is how it is? It is below. It is below HP. Below HP here. And now back side of this. So I call this as behind. Behind VP. So we are going to say that below HP, behind VP. Right? Now when I'm coming to the fourth topic, fourth quadrant here, now point D. Let us consider point D. Now if this point is there, so I'll say that this is below HP. This is there, this in front of VP. In front of VP. Right? So this way. So నేను అందుకనే రాస్తున్నాను, ఈ హారిజాంటల్ గా ఉంటే దాన్ని HP అంటున్నాను, వర్టికల్ లైన్ ని VP అంటున్నాను. So vertical plane VP, horizontal plane HP. Please make a note. First quadrant, how we are representing this figure, you please mention it. This figure, you please mention it. Horizontal line is called horizontal plane. Vertical one, we call this as a vertical plane. When I'm talking about a first quadrant here, let us consider point A. How we are representing? So ఈ లైన్ కన్నా పైన ఉంది, ఈ వర్టికల్ కన్నా ఫ్రంట్ ఉంది కాబట్టి above HP, in front of VP. We are going to call like this. When I'm coming to the second quadrant here, how we are going to represent? This is above, painundi, above HP, behind VP. Behind VP. Now when I'm going for the third quadrant here, how we are going to represent? Third quadrant is always represented HP line ki kinda undi kabatti nenu below HP, VP ki venaka side undi kabatti behind VP. So point 3 or point C is represented like below HP, behind VP. Now this one, I'm saying that fourth quadrant, below HP, in front of VP, please. So E side unte in front, E side unte behind. E vertical plane ki behind. E side behind, E side in front. Only two terms. Vertical plane ki vachi rende terms. In front, behind. Horizontal plane కి రెండే టర్మ్స్, above, below. Only 4 terms. ఓకే, సో ఈ 4 టర్మ్స్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి చాలు. మనకి హారిజెంటల్ ప్లేన్కి అబౌవ్, బిలో. ఏదైనా ఒక పాయింట్ ఇచ్చారనుకోండి, ఇది XY లైన్కి పైన ఉందా కింద ఉందా ఫస్ట్ చూడండి. ఒకవేళ XY లైన్కి పైన ఉందనుకోండి, పైన ఉంది అనుకుంటే అబౌవ్ హెచ్పి అని రాస్తారు. కింద ఉంది అన్నారనుకోండి, బిలో హెచ్పి అని రాయండి. దట్ ఈస్ ఫస్ట్. నెంబర్ 2, వర్టికల్ ప్లేన్కి ఎక్కడ ఉంది? దిస్ సైడ్ ఉంటే ఇన్ ఫ్రంట్ ఆఫ్ విపి, బ్యాక్ సైడ్ ఉంటే behind VP. That's all. Very simple. So these 4 points, 4 things, you please remember it. Right? Now, let us consider the things now. You please make a note of that. Now, when I'm talking about these particular things, how we need to go for representing, some basic rules over there. So please mention these particular rules, whatever the things we have. These particular rules. Please mention these rules, please. ఈ రూల్స్ మాత్రం అందరూ కూడా మెన్షన్ చేసుకోండి. Take a screenshot of this, how we are going to represent. Rule number 1. Rule number 1, how we are going to represent. ఇప్పుడు ఈ పాయింట్ చూడండి, ఇది కొంచెం బాగా అర్థమైపోతే చాలు. దీంట్లో ఉండేవి మూడు థింగ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఈ పాయింట్, ఇది ఏ క్వాడ్రంట్ ఇట్ ఈస్? ఏ క్వాడ్రంట్ ఇట్ ఈస్? సో దిస్ ఇస్ ద ఫస్ట్ క్వాడ్రంట్. Okay, this is the first quadrant. Now when I'm moving like this, second quadrant. Now when I'm moving down, it is the third quadrant. Now when I'm moving this side, fourth quadrant. Simple. Fourth quadrant. Now when I'm representing the points here, see first one, I'm assuming I'm finding a point now. ఇక్కడ నాకు ఒక point ఉంది. Now I have a point here, this point. Now the observer are here now. This side నుంచి చూస్తున్నానండి. నేనేం చేస్తున్నానంటే ఇలా పాయింట్ పెట్టుకుని, ఇలా నాకు ప్లేన్ ఉంది. నేనేం చేస్తున్నాను, ఇక్కడ నుంచి చూస్తూ ఉన్నాను. ఎలా చూస్తున్నాను? ఈ సైడ్ నుంచి చూస్తున్నాను. పాయింట్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది. ఈ పాయింట్, ఈ పెన్ కనపడుతుంది కదా, ఈ పెన్కి టిప్ ఉండేది పాయింట్ అనుకోండి. నేను ఈ సైడ్ నుంచి చూస్తే దీని నీడ్ ఎక్కడ పడుతోంది? ఇక్కడ పడుతోంది. సో దిస్ ఈస్, ఈ XY లైన్ నుంచి ఎంత హైట్లో ఉందో, దిస్ ఇస్ అబౌవ్. నేను ఇదే పాయింట్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది అనుకోండి, పైనుంచి చూసాను అనుకోండి, ఇది ఎక్కడ పడుతుంది? ఇది కరెక్ట్గా ఇట్లయే కిందకి. సో దిస్ ఇస్ టాప్ వ్యూ. సో రెండే వ్యూస్. మనం పైనుంచి చూస్తే టాప్ వ్యూ, ఫ్రంట్ నుంచి చూస్తే ఫ్రంట్ వ్యూ. సింపుల్. సో ఇప్పుడు నేనేం చేస్తున్నాను, ఈ పాయింట్ ఉందండి ఇక్కడ, మీరు అబ్జర్వ్ చేయండి కొంచెం కేర్ఫుల్. హారిజాంటల్ ప్లేన్, వర్టికల్ ప్లేన్, దిస్ లైన్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ XY లైన్. నేనేం చేస్తున్నాను, ఇలా ఉంది. సో ఈ పాయింట్ నేను ఈ సైడ్ నుంచి చూస్తున్నాను, టిప్ని. ఈ టిప్ నీడ్ ఎక్కడ పడుతుందో చెక్ చేయండి. ఈ నీడ్ కరెక్ట్గా నేను ఇలానే మూవ్ చేసుకుంటూ పోతే ఎక్కడ పడుతుంటుందో, that point is called front view. నేను ఫ్రంట్ నుంచి చూస్తున్నాను కాబట్టి front view. If the same point, if I'm looking from the top side, I'm getting it top view, right? So everybody should remember these two particular words about the front view and top views, and you must give the notations, please. ఎప్పుడు కూడా ఈ నోటేషన్సే వాడాలి అందరూ కూడా. మనకి ఇష్టం వచ్చిన నోటేషన్స్ని పెట్టడానికి వీల్లేదు. సి ప్లీజ్, టాప్, ఇప్పుడు సపోజ్ ఏ పాయింట్ ఏ ఉందనుకోండి. Top view, when I want to represent it, it is to be represented by small a, small b, small c, small d, like the small letters. Only small letters. Top view will always be represented by small a, small b, small c, like this. When I need to represent the front view, I need to represent by a dash, small a dash, small a dash, small b dash, small c dash, small d dash, like this. When I'm representing the side views, అంటే సైడ్ నుంచి చూస్తే నాకు వచ్చేటువంటి వ్యూ, సైడ్ వ్యూ, I represent a double dash, b double dash. This way I need to represent it. Okay, so please remember these particular things. Please always, you please remember that these particular things. Front view should be represented by, please make a note. అందరు నేను చెప్తూ ఉంటాను, ప్లీజ్గా నోట్బుక్లో రాసుకుంటూ రండి. In the projection of points, the projection of points, a point will always be represented by capital A, capital letters only. Points will always be represented by capital letters only. Example, capital A, capital B, capital C, capital D, like this. అయిపోయిందా రాయడం అయిపోయిందా? Now coming to కింద రాయండి. Top view. In the projection of points, the top view is always represented by small letters only. Small letters only. Example, small a, small b, small c, small d, like this. Next, front view. Next line, front view. The front view is always represented by small a dash, a paina first face, a dash, comma b dash, c dash, etc. Front views. Next, in the side views, it is always represented by a double dash, small a double dash, పైన రెండు లైన్లు, double dash, b double dash, c double dash, like this. Okay, but please remember this side view concept, it may vary. Don't worry, but when we are going for the problems, we'll see at that time now. But please remember, front view and top view will always be represented by this particular methods only. మీరు ఎగ్జామ్లో రాసేటప్పుడు ఈ మెథడ్స్ ఏమాత్రం నొటేషన్స్ మారిపోయినా మీరు గీసిన ప్రతిదీ కూడా తప్పైపోతుందండి. అందుకని ఈ నొటేషన్స్ ఖచ్చితంగా ఫాలో అవ్వాల్సిందే. పైన ఎప్పుడు మీరు ఏ బదులు బి రాయండి, బి బదులు సి రాయండి, డజంట్ హ్యావ్. ఫ్రంట్ వ్యూ విల్ బి రిప్రజెంటెడ్ బై అ ఫాస్ట్ ఫియస్ టాప్, small a dash, b dash, c dash, like this. Top views will always be represented by small letters a, b, c, like this. Okay, this will be represented by like this only. Clear? Now, another important point, see, please mention. The important point is in these projections, front view and top view should be on the same line. In the projections, how it is, in the front view and top view should be on the same line. See now how we are going to represent this is going to call as xy line. This is called xy line. Now here I'm saying this is front view is always represented by a dash, so I'm going to represent here a dash, small a dash. Front view is represented by small a dash. ఇదే లైన్ కింద స్ట్రైట్ గా కింద గీస్తే ఇక్కడ నాకు a small a, top view is always represented by small a, so it should always be represented by small a. So I'm saying front view and top view అంటే xy లైన్ కి ఇది xy లైన్ కి పైన ఏమో ఫ్రంట్ వ్యూ ఉంది, కిందేమో టాప్ వ్యూ ఉంది. It may change depending upon your position, first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant. బట్ మనకు కావాల్సింది ఏంటంటే ఫ్రంట్ వ్యూ, టాప్ వ్యూ ఇవి రెండు కూడా ఒకే లైన్ మీద ఉండాలి. ఇంకొన్ని కేసులో టాప్ వ్యూ పైన ఫ్రంట్ వ్యూ కింద ఉండొచ్చు, డోంట్ వరీ. బట్ మనకు కావాల్సింది ఏంటి, ఇవి రెండు కూడా ఏ డాష్ ఏ, బి డాష్ బి, సి డాష్ సి ఇవి ఎప్పుడు కూడా ఒకే లైన్లోనే ఉండాలి. దిస్ వన్, the line joining between the front view and top view is called projector. This is called projector, right? This is called projector. The line joining between front view and top view is called projector. So please, all of you, make it sure this is to be remember always. This is to be remember always. So e points eppudu undali. Front view is always represented by a dash, small a dash, b dash, c dash like this. Top view is always represented by small a, small b, small c like this. And another very important point, the front view and top view both should be on a single line, same line. Okay, both should be there on the same line. What do you call projector? Okay, this way, this is the starting point of the projection of points. In the next sessions I'm going to discuss. See, please remember, tomorrow afternoon sessions I'm going to have I'm going to provide a one more easy class now, because on Wednesday session I have another appointment, so I cannot able to take third hour on Wednesday. So in place of that, tomorrow Tuesday session, I'm in the afternoon sessions, I'm going to provide an extra class for you. సో బుధవారం బదులు మంగళవారమే ఒక క్లాస్ మధ్యాహ్నం సెషన్ అరేంజ్ చేస్తున్నాను. సో ప్లీజ్ లింక్ పంపిస్తాను. ప్లీజ్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ అటెండ్ ఇట్. సో ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు మేక్ దిస్ వన్ పాయింట్స్. I'm going to discuss about this particular points. So tomorrow afternoon sessions, please attend everybody.